Yeah.
Jada Queen.
If y'all see certain things on my story, no, you didn't. I'm the person who snitches on my TikToks. Don't do that. Don't be that person.
Oh no.
Bruh.
Hello, viewers out there. You're now listening to Lehman College Radio. I'm your host for today, Rakim, aka Ra, the Hitmaker, for those who know me, Vice President of Radio Club and Director of Music Discovery. This interview is conducted on behalf of Lehman College student body, recorded October 13th, 2020, amid the COVID quarantines. And joining us today is Jada Quinlan, newly elected student body president, Jianee Carrasco, Officer of Research and Development, also with SGA. Let's get started. How are you doing?
I'm good.
You doing good?
Good. Mm-hmm.
All right.
You know, it's
all right,
COVID,
cool.
but other than that, everything's good.
Okay. So I'd like to thank you both for being here. A couple icebreakers before we get started. So a little background about yourselves. What's your major, minor, and what year are you in?
Okay, so my major is psychology and chemistry. Minor is biochemistry, and I'm a fourth year.
Nice, okay. Is that applause?
Oh, that was cute. Okay, me. So, my major is accounting, a BS in accounting, and also economics and math, and I'm minoring in international business management.
That's what's up. We're both in accounting. You know, you got to represent. Okay, and since we're a radio club, I have to ask this. What's your album, artist, or song of the week? We don't have to discuss it, just whatever comes to mind first.
I already have mine. But go ahead.
Mine was just like, I just heard this song and now I'm obsessed. It's by King Von. It's called Took Her to the O. Might be a little too hood for this.
That's that Chicago.
No, it's never too hood, Jianee. Never too hood. I'm good.
Okay, King Von, Took Her to the O.
I've actually never heard that song in my life.
Me either.
Mine has to I don't know if you guys listen to Kailani. Her song Toxic. It's been preaching all week to me, honestly.
Yeah, we don't like them toxic people. We got to get them out.
Right, foreshadowing.
Detox.
All right, now we're gonna get into the serious stuff. Boom, here we go. So for those who don't know what SGA stands for, can either of you explain its purpose and what your roles are, and then what your roles consist of?
Ready. So SGA in general, it's basically just student advocates. So we get paid to make sure that the systems, the services, the campus, the faculty and staff are all complying with what students' needs are according to like whatever year, whichever SGA is there. And my role as president is just to make sure that everybody else's role is running smoothly, making sure everybody's abiding by their bylaws, making sure that voting is always legal, make sure it's done correctly according to the Robert's Rule of Orders and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun, but it is a lot of work.
I see. Now, okay, Jianee, as Officer of Research and Development, what is your role?
Yeah, I don't know never mind. My computer's doing another thing. I'll keep talking.
Yeah, you're a little bit louder.
Yeah, Jada basically explained what SGA is. As the Research and Development Officer, I just focus on student interests, and so that can encompass pretty much everything. So I'm gathering information from the students as well as just creating initiatives based on those interests, and then based on interests I think they would have as well. And so it's a really fun job, just building on those programs, and then just making sure like inclusion and diversity is just projected all the time through that.
Definitely, especially the sound effects. Especially though, because we're from the Bronx, so everybody, like, we are very diverse. We have to get everybody included. I like that. So what are some concerns of the students that you've heard, maybe through the grapevines, that you are working to accommodate?
So things I've just heard from students is basically just issues with inclusion and just not feeling represented in some like aspects. For example, in Lehman athletics, not always feeling included or feeling like you have to fill like a certain like look or kind of type to be there. For example, like either like the super buff gym guys or like the girls with like hourglass bodies that are there every day. Can't relate, but you know, different things meet everyone. And I think also in like other places like tutoring as well, like feeling like maybe they don't belong there because like they don't have that like rapport built up already, or they
Or
feel
not a part of them. Yeah.
exactly, or they feel like they're even starting even earlier than a lot of people who are going into tutoring and kind of know what to ask. They just need more basic stuff. So just focusing on those gaps that people feel like are present already and working to make that more inclusive. And so just ideas that we've had for that, and also initiatives that we'd had working on that were just like open education workshops, making sure that even like from your home, people can focus on skill sets for work. We're also exactly, yeah, and we're also working on nutrition initiatives to make sure like counseling one-on-one is able, and trying to work on taking out the weight loss contest and kind of re-innovating it into something that's just more inclusive.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned the weight loss contest. So do you feel like that brings pressure towards students to just, really not be healthy in what they do at home?
Yeah, I think
Like
so.
they force themselves to
Yeah, I
fast.
think just the way it's presented is the problem. I don't think like their intentions are so bad. I just think the way it's presented, for example, like weight loss contests, like having your weight displayed compared to like all these other people that are going, having
I
like your
see.
weight done like in public on the gym, like with like the person who's like doing it with you. It's just like kind of presenting like that diet culture and that idea of like body image, and not necessarily focusing on things to disclaim that as well. Like there's no problem in kind of doing open gym sessions, but have you also done like body image workshops with them and making sure they know like this is their own individual journey and not something they should be like doing just to like promote this idea of what their body should be, and also kind of
Right.
analyzing
It's too
um,
stigmatic.
exactly, and analyzing people's relationship with food as well. Like, do you know if the people who are going into these contests have like good relationships with food? Do you know if they have eating disorders, or are you like kind of indirectly contributing to that?
Or are you like genetically, big boned, and then are you trying to like go down to a
Boned
size
it.
Literally.
that's like smaller than
Okay.
actual capacity?
All right. You make some great points. So when exactly are elections held, and do they operate similar to American politics, i.e., term limits, impeachment, removal from office, things like that?
Um, yes. So elections happen. There's special elections that can happen anytime. It just depends if there's any open seats. You can't leave vacancies in SGA open. Even if it's open, you have to at least try to have a special elections. If nobody runs, then that's fine. But then usually it's in May. You have the induction
May.
form about April. And then in May, you have the period where you're campaigning, but the campaigning is so strict. So I would say yes, it's just like American politics, because the campaigning has so many, undertone. You can't do this, you can't say this, you can't have this friend do this or say this. So it's a lot like about what Trump is, doing over there. But honestly, I would say the difference is we we have way more power than usual SGAs in CUNY, which I love.
How so?
I have friends. I'm a part of this council of presidents, so I know the other CUNY SGA presidents, and they always have to check back with somebody else. They always have to say like, okay, let me go ask this person, make sure. With us, we just make sure we're not breaking a law and then just move forward. We just
Okay,
go
you
ask
got
this
it
one
on lock.
person, right? We don't ask anybody, period. Thank you. Oh, is that Kiana? Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like American. We follow this Robert's Rules of Order which makes us our voting follow exactly what I'm believing the White House follows, where you say yay and nay, abstain, stuff like that. Point of interest. It has to go very professional because it's actual official documents, and these documents run what students are utilizing and occupying. We have a ton of our says are the reason certain people are getting money, so it's very political, but they try to separate us from the politics with administration and just keep it within student politics. So it's simple sometimes.
Okay, cool. I like that. So I also have to ask, are you registered to vote? I don't have to ask, but I want to.
I'm an immigrant.
Oh, so what does that mean?
Green card holders cannot register or vote.
Interesting. That I feel like the students should know that.
Yeah. And the thing is, I even checked. I tried to see if I could vote for mayors or senates or even can I swear in here? Never mind. Even an effing judge. And I was just like, okay, I can't vote for anything at all, but I have permanent residency. So I have the same thing as a citizen. Literally almost the same thing, just 1% difference, but we can't vote at all, and that's probably what the 1% is. But to me, that's like a 70% difference.
Okay, and I feel like I should mention that in primary elections, if you're registered to vote, this is New York City. It's a closed primary, so you can't vote if you're not a Democrat, which sucks. But you cannot vote in primary elections, which is for like the general elections, November 3rd.
That's why I think it's rigged, honestly. But that's a whole nother topic.
It depends.
Yeah, that's the part that's trash. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, why didn't you vote in the primaries?" And I'm like, "Because I'm not a Democrat. I'm like a part of the Green, so I couldn't vote."
Hey, high five.
You know the vibes. But yeah, I couldn't vote, so I was just promoting other people to vote, and I was like, go off though, sis. And then I won't be voting in the presidential election because I'm a poll worker, so I'll just be promoting this excellence.
But at least you're serving, so thank you. Poll working.
Touche. And just a fun little question. In 2 words, how would you describe the 2 presidential candidates?
Wait, in 2 words for both of them?
No, for just each. One for each.
Okay.
How would you describe them?
Go ahead, Jada. You could go first. I'm still thinking.
He says I can't,
you can't curse.
so I don't have my word right. Yeah. So I
pass. 2 words. Wow.
And you can't curse.
For Trump.
Ooh, I mean, you ain't have to say who it was for, but okay. No, it's cool.
Oh, okay. It's no curse. It's no curse. I was just gonna say, I don't know, to sum it up in 2 words, but I can try. I'm gonna try. So I would just say,
have you seen my headscarf?
Yo, drop the words in chat.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if you're viewing at a later date and you get to this point, drop the words in chat.
Yeah.
That you feel fit. Okay, so.
Yeah, for me, I would just say ignorant and impulsive. And for
you don't have to say. No, it was 1 for each.
Oh my God, I messed up this whole game. Okay. 1 word, ignorant. 1 word. And the other person, I would say, God, sum it up in 1 word.
Old. He's old. Okay, next question.
Yes.
So okay. Back to the serious stuff. What are some of the past accomplishments of SGA that may have been overlooked by some of our listeners?
Well, there was a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to classify it as the SGA because, to be quite frank with you, our SGA is the only SGA where almost everybody's working. Back then, it was 1 or 2 people in the executive board, maybe a couple senators were actually really, advocating, but a lot of their accomplishments were in the the change in the cafeteria prices. I know that we got an extra percent or a couple of percents more. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal to certain people, who really use the Lehman dollars. And the free hours, the reason we even have free hours was because our SGA president a couple years back, he emplaced it, but, change in authority. So we've been getting classes scheduled during the free hour, but we're now advocating for it. So hopefully we get it back. What else is there? There's another thing that I'm trying to remember, but I can't remember who did it. Our last president, Terrielli, she was telling me about how before I joined, they went to a protest, I think somewhere in Albany, or was it in Washington, D.C. or something like that. And a Lehman student, and I think it was their financial officer, went up on the podium and he advocated and he had the best speech. And then a lot of reporters came to the school talking to them. And that was something that really got the school noticed, especially the SGA. So I think that's something that they really cherished too. But they do a lot, even the small things I like to appreciate, because even the things like having toilet paper in the bathrooms every day was something that SGA had to make sure happened. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Tell them stop getting rid of them paper towels. I know it's environmentally friendly. We need that.
Definitely. Okay. And those brown paper towels be going in the toilets, and that's just problematic.
You can't win for losing.
No, Kiana needs a raise.
give her a raise. Okay, so how has SGA operated during the COVID shutdowns?
So I can address that. During the COVID shutdown, we tried to be really proactive and just being there in the ways that people may not think during a pandemic. So I feel like virtually what usually goes through like people's heads is like cleanliness, but also there's so many shifts that are happening, right? So like with mental health, having to stay in your home all day, then kind of shifting the style of learning. Also, students not being able to have access to as many tutoring opportunities, or the opportunities for selective courses, especially as you go further into your major. A lot of classes can get very specific, and they don't have a tutor for all of that at Lehman. So focusing on access to that, making sure that wellness options are constantly growing, and we're constantly working on that, and also making sure that people feel represented in every single event that we have had. So I feel like a lot of times, just in general, as far as like CUNY goes, and I think university-wide, there have been so many events where they could have been, just focusing a little more inclusively on just the weakest population, or the population that's the most vulnerable in that area. And I feel like our SGA has been focusing on that greatly. We are even in the works, I don't know if I could speak about it, but for Thanksgiving, we're working on something that's focused on actually, paying homage to the indigenous population, and making sure that we, as like Lehman, are representing that and not just going through it as another holiday.
And food vouchers.
Yes, we love food.
Food vouchers? And are the food vouchers for students to use while at home?
Yes, they can either use it to go to the grocery store. They can either use it to go buy.
Get a cheesecake if you want. Treat yourself. Get a
buy
cake.
Whatever you want. It's Thanksgiving. You're supposed to be eating a lot. Can I also say, I know you asked about past SGA accomplishments. I wanted to just merge everything together, what Jianee just said. So during the pandemic, like really in the pits of it, as soon as we got elected, we jumped into it like head first. We were really working with different departments, different administration, to really start training early so that we could be more than prepared when the fall came. And because of that, we were able to get these food vouchers, get gift cards, so that certain budgets won't go back into our reserves and everybody can actually use their funding efficiently and virtually. Because a lot of people won't know these small details, but you can't use student money outside of the campus. So now that we're forced to be outside the campus, a lot of that money wasn't going to be able to be used. So I'm very glad that our SGA did that, because now we can actually reward people for going to Zooms, reward you for actually being here instead of just forcing you to come to our house party on Zoom. Now we can give you popcorn. Now we can send you bottles and stuff like that. So we're getting creative.
Bottles of what? No, I'm playing.
Right, I was thinking
Empty bottles. Empty
for legal
bottles.
purposes. I was joking.
Okay.
Empty bottles that say SGA.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
so is this virtual world something?
Sorry to interrupt you, Rakim, but
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, to add on to that, I think what Jada mentioned, like bridging the communication. There are so many things. For example, like the library, they had like all of these skill set workshops that not a lot of people knew about. So many students would ask me like, oh, I wish, we focused on that more in the career and services department. And like they have this whole availability of free workshops that they give you on like different work skills that so many students had no idea, including myself. And now we bridge that communication so it's available on social media and people actually know what they're talking about. So even as small as that, like there are so many things that the communication just isn't there. And I feel like RTA has been really focusing on just bridging that communication and making sure that everything we have available is made like showcased to the students, and then we're bridging on what isn't available as well.
Right, because some people were really surviving off of some of our services on campus, and that's the reality.
Okay, so here we go. Is this virtual world something you can get used to, or do you want to go back to campus?
I want to go back to campus.
For me, it's 50-50.
Really?
No offense to all of my friends, but I'm okay. I'm okay not being surrounded by people 24/7. I'm not gonna hold you. Sometimes it can be a little annoying when you're in class and people just yapping, and you gotta pass a class to graduate and people just playing with you. But now automatic mute. I love it. You can type in the chat like, hey, someone's mic is on, professor. I can't hear you. Automatic, But I think just for social health, if it was like partial reopening, like how restaurants open up 25%, open maybe like 25 or 50, and like we could just stop by for like maybe half a day, like I don't know, like half of the student body would show up in the morning, half of the student body would show up like in the afternoon or night. That would be awesome to me. Like I'd get my little dose of friendship and then I'd kick it at home. So that would be great. Yeah.
I don't know.
We're split.
I'm more just like the campus life. I don't know. I really like the college environment. And I feel like if our SGA was actually on campus, in our offices, things that we were dealing with right now wouldn't have to been dealt with as well, I'm going to say. But I feel like if we were really in person, things would be easier. Communication is so hard sometimes, especially when you're texting all the time. Even if you're like on a Zoom like this, you can't read my body language.
Zoom fatigue.
Right. You can't, feel my energy. So it's very hard to communicate now. And that's harder for people that's working in teams. But I do miss campus life. But we'll be back in spring, hopefully.
Hopefully. Yo, if you made it this far, drop some squirrel emojis in the chat. We missed the squirrels as well. I see the cat. Nice. Yeah, yo. Get the horns for the squirrels. All right. So what things are being done to accommodate students who find it difficult to learn online?
Well, they have I know Lehman is providing the transfer students and the freshman students with training to how to use the Blackboard. And we just spoke to the people who are doing that training to include degree works so that, the advisors that we never see, we can become our own advisors and really like navigate the Lehman software so that we don't have to depend on staff and faculty as much anymore. So they're providing training now for Blackboard and stuff like that so that students can depend on themselves and really like independent learning.
Okay, what about some nice laptops, like a little MacBook, 2020 MacBook?
Oh, that way.
No? Yeah.
They give laptops. They have the laptop loan.
Yeah, the laptops fairs. Yeah, true.
But they're not the best. I told them that to their face too. It's not the best. It's not very compatible with a lot of software. Blackboard Calibrate don't even be working half the time because it's like Dell. but that's what they bought a
Google.
long time ago.
I think that's an issue as well, that we'll likely address in the future. Sorry, an eyelash keeps getting in my eye. But anyway, yeah, that we'll likely address in the future. It's just that
our association board is actually working on a proposal for that. Are you in the association committee?
I don't think so.
Oh, the association board is actually working on that. The treasurer of the school says that the school has other laptops that they use for staff. So SGA is going to be getting some of those. And then we're also trying to tap into the association reserve money so that we can get more laptops, better laptops to loan out to students, and the routers with the internet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But we've already been handing out routers and laptops, but we just want to upgrade.
Right, cool. So I have a question here from an alumni.
Nice.
Here we go. When will class of 2020 have their time to shine? You know, when will they get to walk for graduation? Will it?
You know, you want to go, Jianee? I want to. No, go ahead, Jianee.
I'll say just a tidbit. This is just personally my thoughts and just how I think it should be run. One, I feel like that's a hard topic to touch on just because we're all kind of like everything in itself is in a pause, even though it seems like things are just continuing to go in like this new version, but we're all waiting on funding, on rules, right? Like for COVID,
the environment.
So as much as like we want to have like partial in-person events or even full in-person events, a lot of it we're just not allowed to do. So as much as, you know, I'm tired of seeing my cat every day, love you though, you know, we don't really have a choice. But I do think we've been working on just trying to make the best out of a bad situation and just focusing on what we can do in the present in the meantime, to just let people know who are graduating that there's support, regardless if that support isn't in person, it's there. But yeah, I definitely think we're making it works, and a lot of us as well are very into politics and are super focused on what's happening and in conversations with supervisors at Lehman and just making sure as soon as information is found out, we're creating initiatives to make that happen.
Okay, cool. So
I wanted to also respond to the alumni if I can.
Okay.
I wanted to also say, you know, first, small disclaimer, I've never had a graduation in my life. I've missed all 4 of them and I've changed schools too many times. So I feel class of 2020 the biggest. I actually prayed, don't feel bad, I actually prayed, like I was thanking God, thank you that I'm not graduating 2020 because I would have missed a 5th graduation. So I was really a big advocate when their graduation date was pending. And I kept asking them, okay, yes, you're going to give them a Zoom. Yes, you're going to call their names one by one, which Lehman doesn't usually do, even if they're in person. But like, what are you going to do to like celebrate their 4 years that basically has to go down the drain now? Yes, you're giving a Zoom, but that's nothing compared to what they were anticipating, what they were putting up with this entire time for no reason. But what I wanted to also mention is that the school tried their hardest. They really did try. They tried everything. They sent them things. They sent them extra notes. There were signatures from faculty. There were signatures from the USS and CUNY. So they understood what was being lost, and they understood that specific student crowd. So I do want the alumni to understand that they didn't just brush it off. They feel horrible, but it's completely out their hands.
Fair enough. Next question is, food insecurity is a huge issue in working class neighborhoods throughout New York City and the Bronx. What are some of the SGA programs that we have to alleviate issues among students, these issues among students?
Yeah, so we've been working alongside with OCL to make a lot of things happen with the food pantry and other programs comes alongside of that. So there was actually a bum rush of opportunities that OCL was kind of throwing not too long ago, where they were, especially like during the prime of COVID, where they were just letting everyone know, like, hey, apply for these programs. And they were dishing out gift cards like it was nobody's business.
Wow.
And we're still working on that. We're constantly.
And the Robin Hood.
And we're still constantly working on just getting funding and making sure we get approval for vouchers so we can just hand it out to students as often as we can because we understand. We also constantly give out information of places that students can go and get free food and free meals. And there's numerous locations in the Bronx, Manhattan, etc. So we're
Shout out to the community fridges, Bedford Community Fridge, Kingsbridge.
Yes.
Our social media is like a resource book.
There's
like
one
we created it like completely.
And took a picture for advertisements so students know as well. And I sent a bunch of information about the location as well. So constantly just trying to stay informed and release it to the public.
Okay, cool. So those familiar with campus may want to know, what is the old bookstore becoming? Oh.
Okay, so
Nobody
the old
knows?
bookstore, it's actually virtual now. I don't know if people be checking their emails, but you should. So the library is definitely turning virtual, and the bookstore has scholarships now that they're handing out. I actually got one, but what I did tell President Lemons in our last meeting, the entire SGA was there, were like, some students didn't get their book scholarship until after professors were pressing us to buy half the things that we had to buy. So that's something that he's looking into as well. So there may, I don't think everybody got it. I don't even know. That was another question we asked him. What was the evaluation? How did you determine which student got what? But I think it was a financial
I'm referring to the old bookstore, the one that's
that they
on the
said.
strip,
the building,
and it's
the
empty.
actual.
Yeah. What is that becoming? Nobody knows?
I don't know if I'm supposed to say, but there's supposed to be. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but they're supposed to be taking it down for something.
Yeah, something productive.
But hey, let us hear it first.
No.
Is it the nursing program?
I can say something productive.
Okay, I feel like I heard somewhere that it was for a nursing program, but if it's okay, so it's not. Okay.
How would I know?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, they moved from the bookstore even before we were elected. So
true. So at this point, is it even up to us?
Right. They could change it again because
okay, cool.
They can even make another building for more classrooms after this COVID.
You know what
break.
they could? You know what they could make? A radio station.
Cold ask.
Kiana, and quick shout out to Kiana. She's a video producer and she's secretary of the radio club. And if you ever seen her at the jazz festival, she was the one doing all the mixing, audio mixing, and then work.
And she has the cutest daughter ever.
Aww. Hey, clap it up. All right, so gyms citywide have begun to open. When can we expect the Apex to open?
Never.
Never. Whoa.
Okay, not until the school actually opens. Students cannot go on campus. They even I had to go sign a paper, and CUNY wouldn't let me. Their words were, it doesn't matter if you're the president, you're a student. So they're really strict.
I think that's the difference that people aren't really taking into consideration, is that like gyms are opening, but they're also like owned by private people.
Right.
Like the Apex is part of everything else. So if we're not opening up the campus,
that's right.
The Apex, even though it would be nice, right? Because I'm paying for it.
I mean, the Blink next to school is open.
Right. So it would be nice, but no, unfortunately.
You know what I always wanted them to do? This is such a sidetrack, but I always thought Lehman should have a partnership with Blink. Get a discount or something, or I don't know. But Why would Blink want Lehman is my
Good idea.
question.
Or Planet Fitness, because that's the one I have.
No, but it's right next to us. What would we tell Planet Fitness?
Tomato, or what? Planet Fitness is right by me. I could just say, hey, let's branch out.
Or they could turn the bookstore to a Planet Fitness. No, I'm kidding. All right, so that's true. Turn the whole Apex into Planet Fitness.
Yes.
So World Mental Health Day just passed, October 10th. I know virtual meetings may be a little mundane, but are there events on Zoom for students to, have fun at?
Yes, ours.
SGA meetings, Zoom
we have
meetings?
House parties. We have paint and sip, and then we have movie nights.
Really sip.
Yeah, really sip. And then we have movie nights. And what else did we have? We just have a lot of cool things just to like relax. We're very because we're very focused on mental health because nobody else on campus is, to be honest with you, other than the counseling center, but that's their industry. But that's why we work with them a lot to make sure that students are still taking out time to relax and take things day by day instead of all at once.
Okay. So where can students sign up for these events?
They can follow our social media accounts to see which events are happening. They can register or activate their Club Central account if they haven't, because a ton of people don't. And that's where you have access to all the club's events, even departments events, even SGA's events are on there. And that's where you can go and look at the different types of things that are happening, because a lot of the clubs and departments are putting their creative things that would usually happen on campus into the Zooms in a creative way. So everybody should have their Lehman 360 and their Club Central, because that's your life right now for this virtual life.
Facts.
Period.
And I'm glad you mentioned Club Central, because my next question comes from a transfer student. Here's what the student asked. So they mentioned that they came from a previous school where they had an online system where all the students could essentially chat with each other. And it was on the same platform where they had to submit like coursework and homeworks and things like that, where they got all their resources from. So are there any chances of something? No, not
like Blackboard Calibrator.
Yeah. So it would be like Blackboard with like a chat functionality, and you could see like all the clubs and talk to people randomly.
That's fancy. What's the name of that?
Fancy.
Lehman's broke.
You know what? This interview isn't about me, but St. John's, when I got accepted like fresh out of high school, it was too expensive, so I didn't go. But they had a system just like that, where the same location, the same platform where you would submit homework and things of that nature, you could chat with people and get to know people, freshmen, sophomore, juniors,
That's
and
cool.
discuss clubs and things like that. So,
but we just like bought something from Zoom. So even if we could do something like that, it won't be right now. It'll probably be after you graduate anyway.
Okay, true. Which is coming up.
And that thing with Zoom is very underappreciated, but that's the best thing ever.
And what is that, like the Zoom free premium?
Thank you, Kiana. So CUNY just bought that thing with Zoom. So now each student with their Outlook, you know how we have .edu, you have access to a Zoom account. So instead of just being able to talk on Zoom for 45 minutes and it kicks you out, you just stay on, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, but now everybody has access to an account for Zoom through their CUNY.
That's good to know. Okay, so how can ordinary...
And you'll see all
that. I got you right now. So how can ordinary students like me get in contact with SGA if we ever have questions or concerns? Instagram? What is it?
So we're a very personal bunch, to a point where we feel like the best way to help you is to get personal, not get up in your business, but we want you to feel comfortable when situations happen. So we want you to either email us directly, because you know how it goes, just know our first and last name. Our Instagram have all of our names, all of our informations, and I believe our emails as well. Some of us, after you email us, we will just send you our numbers. We call you, we Zoom you. We also have a Facebook page. We're also in charge of the Lehman Students channel on Facebook.
Okay.
We have Twitter.
And what's the handle?
The what?
The handle. What's
SGA.
Oh, simple enough.
Simple
enough. Lehman SGA, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yes.
All right, cool.
You cannot miss us.
So our SGA, I guess when we get back to campus, are SGA meetings open to the student body?
It's open now, virtually, and we post those on our social pages too. So you just have to join our Zoom and you can listen to everything that we're dealing with, like students' money, what we're talking about monthly.
Okay. Yeah. And here we go. Last question. What can students expect from you, both of you personally, moving forward? And what do you expect from students?
So I'll go first. So what students can expect from me? I don't know. I'm mainly behind the scenes, to be honest. So you'll see a lot of my initiatives, but won't see me. That's fine. So a lot of things that you can currently expect is one, just access to those workshops I mentioned, works on the nutrition initiative. So working on getting nutrition professors to utilize their interns so students can partner with them and have a healthier approach to, just getting proper relationships with food and also incorporating body image workshops into that. I also did a POC Talks support group. So now I'm doing collaborations, period. Shout out to you.
I was actually there at the POC Talks.
Yes, I remember. So now we're doing just collaborations with just different events. And so it's going to activate in the spring, but for now just doing kind of collaborations for each month and making sure that each group has the chance to feel represented, and that's also open to other races as well, but with a primary focus on those races. So we just had a collaboration with Hispanic Heritage Month where we had Hispanics of every race just speaking on their experiences as a Hispanic or as a Latino in America. And then beyond that, honestly, so much that this interview is not enough time, but just expect to be met. And also we're like online, so I don't think people realize as well that you guys can literally hit us up for anything and we'll make it happen.
Okay.
So hit us up, That's it.
And what do you expect from students? The students that kind of see Lehman as just a commuter school, I don't want to get involved into clubs and things like that. What do you want students to do moving forward, or to at least embrace a little bit?
Yeah, I think personally for me, I think students should be more active. Like, you are in college, you only go to college once. After this, I'm not gonna lie, it gets pretty depressing. Okay, don't get me wrong. We love excellence and we love succeeding, right? Like, I'm going to grad school, but life doesn't get more exciting than now. So you have the opportunity to actually have fun with your school, to just be more interactive, to have school spirit. Like, who cares if it's corny? Who cares, like, if you feel like you look dumb, child? All these people are paying the same amount of money. You might as well have fun, like, literally. And even if your financial aid covers everything, have them cover it for a reason. Participate in half of these things that your financial aid is paying for. Like, I don't understand people sometimes. My financial aid covers it covers OCL, it covers the bookstore. So guess what I'm gonna use? The OCL, the bookstore, the gym, every single thing.
Yep. We have a pool and nobody
I have been a part of because my money is dipped into, and that's on period. Don't let your money be wasted, guys. That's it. Excel. Thank you.
Yes. And that's on period.
That's on period.
Jada, how about you? what can students expect from you moving forward, and what do you expect from students?
Honestly, students can expect a lot of honesty from me. The raw honesty, the horrible honesty, the good honesty, the explicit honesty. I'm a very honest person and I'm very transparent. So I would say honesty and transparency, because I feel like, yes, and the real, as Jianee says. I feel like that I have a lot of students that I've mentored over my time. So I know some of them are not getting financial aid. Some of them are working 9 to 5 to pay their tuition, whose parents are in a different country, struggling to pay this currency difference, So I really be feeling for this student body, and I hope they understand that, so they can expect the rest of my empathy for this year. They can expect my honesty. I'm going to tell them where their money's going. I'm going to tell them when our administration is trumping the place out, and I'll be honest with everybody, so they can expect all of those from me. It won't be any more guessing this year. It's definitely just going to be the raw truth. Rip the Band-Aid off,
Big fact. All right. So, if you got more.
Oh, you didn't let me do my other question. So what do I expect from students?
Yeah.
I got you. What I expect from students is I expect them to get more empowered. I don't mind serving them, but I want to serve people who are willing to fight with me, not just sit down and let me fight for them. So it's more of what Jianee was saying, if we're out here screaming at people who are older than us, talking to people who swear they're more experienced than us, just for the students not to get engaged, just for them not to come to our Zooms, just for them not to utilize what we're working hard for the school to implement in our years. That's what we don't like. That's what I don't want. I expect them to really put their 50, meet us the 50 halfway. So it's a group effort, not just because we're SGA, we're just students too, but somebody got to do it, So they need to understand that we're not above them, we're not below them, we're all on the same level, but we're just representing them. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think also to get to know us, and I think that sounds like a lot more personal than it is, but honestly, if it were the other way around, I always think if somebody's not my friend, and granted, we're not your friends right now, we could be, but we're not your friends right now, right? So I would think, how can these people benefit me? A lot of us are a part of a lot of things that could benefit you in your life. We have access to a lot of opportunities, both financial and otherwise,
that we can share.
Exactly. That thing that aren't part of our job that we can just tell you to tell you. And so having access, especially free access to that, to me sounds like a win-win. For example, I'm an academic coach. Jada's part of a million things. We can help you in so many ways that people just aren't taking advantage of, and they don't realize you have free access to this. Literally show up and put yourself out there. Hey.
And we're friendly.
Yeah, my name is so-and-so. Can I get your email?
Friendly.
Boom, email me. I'm literally glued to this thing.
Right. I bet you in a month we're probably on the phone talking.
We'll be talking about phones at a later date. But that wraps up this interview. I want to thank you both for joining us. And if you want to share your socials, it might be a little personal. You don't have to, but if you want to reach us, we're Lehman College Radio on Instagram. Me personally, with 7 to 10 underscores. Find me on Instagram. Do you want to share your Instagrams?
Yeah, sure. My Instagram is JIJIC_. Feel free to follow me.
Mine's underscore Jada Quinn. Very simple.
Yeah.
Jada Quinn.
If y'all see certain things on my story, no, you didn't. I'm the person who snitches on my TikToks. Don't do that. Don't be that person.
Oh no. Okay. So make sure you reach out to Lehman SGA first. If you're an Instagram user, Facebook user, whatever, Lehman SGA, reach out to it. Kiana, what about you?
Thank you guys for having us. This was fun.
Yeah, no problem. Nothing for you, Kiana. Okay, this is Lehman College Radio signing out.
Bye. I feel like I'm on a podcast. It's like bye.
And scene.
Bruh.